Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Remember I said earlier that parents have no power anymore?
Yes.
When they kicked out the school resource officers out of CPS. It starts next fall. But, yeah, we have no say. Even parents showed up at that meeting. Well, Illinois wants to change, some lawmakers in Illinois want to change the definition of child abuse to include parents who deny gender-affirming care. There's a recently introduced bill in the state of Illinois that would change that definition. It's called HB 4876.
Yeah.
You're normally the guy with the House bills.
Yeah.
You always tell me about HB 48076, which was introduced in early February. And it also shields doctors from liability if they prescribe such treatments to minors who do not have parental consent. You need parental consent to get a tattoo, right? Oh, no. You have to be 18 to get a tattoo.
You can't give a kid an aspirin in school without
I know
parental consent.
that. You can't give them anything. With more on this, let's welcome back to the show our good friend
Shannon Adcock
with Awake Illinois. Good morning, Shannon. How are you?
Good morning, John. Good morning, Amy. I'm great. Thank you for having me on today.
All right, so tell us more about House Bill 4876 and who authored the bill.
Yes. So the Democrat Ann Stava Murray, representative in Illinois House District 81, she filed this bill February 6th. And what this does is it amends the Abused and Neglected Child Reporting Act. So any parent who does not permit any manner of primary care services, so that could be vaccines, prescription drugs, or abortion services, or gender-affirming services, will be criminalized and considered an abuser of their child purely for exercising their parental rights. So they're going to try and make through this bill, which, by the way, we are crushing this bill right now. The opposition is intense. The pushback from the gay community, trans community, parent community, common sense community of Illinois, they are fired up and telling Rep. Stava Murray, oh, hell no. But this is effectively trying to criminalize good parenting. And in blue states across the country, you're seeing now where they're trying to drop these bills to make ethics effectively illegal and trying to normalize the mutilation and sterilization of children. And so this has been an issue Awake Illinois has been tackling since 2022. We had Billboard Chris Elston come to the Springfield Capitol, Scott Nugent from the What is a Woman documentary. We knew this was going to come. And what's good right now, I guess, about this bill is parents are talking, and not just talking amongst each other, but talking to their children. Right. And today at 10 a.m., I have to tell you guys, January Littlejohn is coming on a live stream with us. She has a federal case out of Florida because her 13-year-old daughter, the school tried to transition socially, so using different pronouns, different names, calling her a boy. They have a federal lawsuit, and she has a great phrase. She says, you have to inoculate your children from this wicked agenda of gender ideology. So parents are starting to talk to their kids, and this is a good thing.
So if you're accused of child abuse, then DCFS comes in. Could they possibly take your child away from you?
Well, look, yeah, I mean, for true child abuse, which we know what those red flags are, right? Any mandated reporter, they're trained on this. They know how to identify a truly abused child. And there are good protocols in place for mandated reporters to relay those situations to the state. This is not that category. When a parent is protecting their child from mutilation and sterilization, that is a good parent. And so, yes, if this were to pass, which, by the way, again, I don't see this at all moving forward because of the pushback. It is an election year, and this ideology of gender medicine is insane. And I believe that Rep. Stava Murray is incredibly misguided to participate in this wicked ideology. Yes, if this were to pass, hypothetically, if a child says, my mom won't let me go on birth control, or my mom won't get me any manner of, flu shot, a licensed counselor would be required to report to the state, hey, this parent is abusing their child because they're not permitting primary care services. And then it goes up from there to gender affirming services because, of course, this representative was sort of stupid to put everything on the kitchen sink in this bill. And I'm glad because now people are like, oh, hell no. Like there's a no, right, John and Amy? Yeah. There's like a no, thank you. And then there's a, oh, hell no. Right. Oh, hell no, you're not going to tell me that I'm an abuser of my child for saying, hey, kiddo, yeah, you can't get a tattoo until you're 18. You can't go into the military until you're 18. You can't drink alcohol legally until you're 21. Guess what? You're not going to be able to cut off your genitals. And sterilize yourself. So this is a hell no to House Bill 4876. And by the way, people in the 81st District are saying hell no to Ann Sava Murray, and they're asking who is running against her. His name is Aaron Porter. He is a police officer and a father of four. And if you remember, Ann Sava Murray tried to file the bill that was going to remove all resource officers from the schools. And it was such aggressive pushback. She had to delete her Facebook page for a time and then came on and played victim. And so she is notorious for filing these radical bills. But listen, she gets millions from the Democrat Party. She's there with Pritzker at the picture at University of Chicago, wherever they were for the stupid banned book, lie bill or whatever he signed. And she's there smiling behind him. She's a little darling for the Democrat Party. Well, guess what? She's on radio silent. And I'm telling anyone running for office right now and or who is seated, you better come out publicly against this bill because people are pissed.
Yeah. And
so
Shannon,
your silence is complicity.
Shannon, I see that the bill is in Rules Committee. I'm going to tell you what this is.
All right,
my
tell us
theory.
how this works with.
This
Rules
is my theory of
Committee.
what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
This was a press pop bill. This was somebody. Apparently, she wants to get her name out in the press for some reason. Because remember, when it comes time to vote again, people are going to forget about this bill. The people of her district, they're not going to remember this bill. She's going to introduce something else that gives her a great. Because remember, all press is good press, no matter how good, bad, or ugly it is. All press helps politicians, and they know this. So I don't think she's going to. It's still sitting in the Rules Committee. Hasn't been assigned to a committee yet. And it came out February 7th. She filed the bill February 7th.
Okay.
And it hasn't moved to a committee.
So what does that mean?
There's a lot of pressure on her from her other Democrats who don't want to put a vote on this to say,
they don't want to be on the record.
They don't want to be on the record to say, hey, listen, this is the election year. Maybe you should have did this the year before.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? We're not going to let people forget about this. I don't care what your voting record is. And if anybody has a billboard out there, we have a couple specs that we'd love to keep people reminded of this. And so if anybody has a billboard that they have the courage to let us do this graphic, we will pay for it. So, we are absolutely committed to keeping people aware of what this agenda is, because even if this bill stalls, John and Amy, this is an agenda that is going to keep coming back. It's going to pulse in some way, shape, or form. And so people need to stay vigilant. And like I said, inoculate your children. They are beautifully made.
Yep.
They are not made wrong. They cannot consent to puberty blockers. They should not be sterilizing themselves. And largely this is my worry. And, how many of you who speak out for children and their innocence these days are called homophobic, transphobic. Yep. Can I tell you, I have talked to more members of the gay community and the trans community in the last 4 days. They're coming onto our live streams. They are some of the most ardent supporters of children's innocence because they themselves were harmed, and they see the agenda, the wicked agenda behind this. So if you're afraid of being, speaking out because you're going to be called names, get over that. Get over that right now, because the children need you to have courage, and the gay community is singing loud about it. The trans community is singing loud about it. So, we're not going to stop. And so, again, that billboard, I want a billboard in her district. Stat.
And you kind of stole some of my thunder because one of the things I wanted to make a correction, because I see you get trolled more than I think anybody I know here in the state of Illinois.
Whenever we talk to you, then I get trolled.
Yeah, and so do I. So, but
you know what? I love your chutzpah.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you.
Yeah, but
they fear who they fear.
Right, but Shannon, and a lot of it is misdirected because you don't care what an adult does with their life. Your main passion is protecting our children. Like you don't hate anybody from the LGBT community because you have a lot of friends. The Gays for Groomers are your friends. You just want to now let's for the record, for all those people that are listening, do you hate anybody in the LGBT community?
No, of
Okay.
course not.
Okay.
No, you're free to be gay in this country. And I had Jeff Cleghorn on earlier this week. He was a gay rights activist
Right.
back in the day. And he said there were no trans children in Washington fighting for gay rights. He said this is a total for-profit agenda preying on kids.
Yes.
So they don't want to be lumped into this groomer for-profit agenda that the Pritzker family is, tied to. They don't want to be tied to these gender clinics that are mutilating kids. They want to be left alone.
Right.
Right?
And
so
your fight-
I
wait,
welcome
Shannon.
anyone on deck.
We don't have much time, but your fight is not against what adults do. Your fight is to protect the innocence of our children, correct?
Yes. Keep the bedroom out of the classroom. Keep a scalpel away from children, especially the gay children who are really being preyed upon most. AwakeIL.com/fight. Over 2,000 emails sent directly from our portal to Ann Stava Murray saying hell no to House Bill 4876. And we will make sure people remember this come Election Day.
All right.
Man.
We're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much, Shannon, for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
good
God
luck
bless.
with your fight.
Take
Thanks.
care,
And she
Shannon.
joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one. Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Frank Vance, co-owner of Egan Vance Insurance Agency on Chicago's Northwest Side and a customer of Signature Bank. In my line of work, we pride ourselves on being there for our clients when they need it the most, and we recognize when someone does the same for us. As Egan Vance was expanding, we wanted to buy a much sought-after building in the neighborhood. We couldn't waste any time.